Times wouldn't have an issue with that.
Well, the New York Times does that all the time.
But bizarre that they wouldn't have an
Hey,
issue with
gossip
the government
aficionados.
tapping into your phone.
Strap in because today's video is all about the fearless and unapologetically outspoken Joe Rogan. From his famed podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, Joe has stirred the pot more than a few times, and boy, do we love him for it. His audacity to speak his mind and question the mainstream has certainly caused some uproar. But let's dive into these so-called scandals and see how Rogan might just be the bold voice of reason we all need.
They never find whatever it is that can break them free. They never catch a ride on that river out.
Yeah.
Here are 3 controversies where Joe didn't just follow the crowd, but instead led the charge with his own fiery take. In 2021, Joe Rogan shared his opinion that young and healthy people might consider skipping the COVID-19 vaccine. While mainstream media erupted in frenzy, labeling this as dangerous misinformation, let's take a step back. Joe was sparking an important conversation about personal health autonomy and the nuanced considerations of individual risk versus benefit. Isn't it just like Joe to invite us to think a little harder about the decisions we make? His commentary ignited a broad discussion that many felt was necessary amidst the one-size-fits-all public health directives. Joe's take on the vaccine wasn't just a random blurt. It was based on a perspective that health should be personalized, an angle often glossed over in public discourse. By questioning the necessity of vaccines for the young and robust, Joe wasn't dismissing science. Rather, he was highlighting the importance of individual choice in health decisions. This stance attracted a massive audience who felt their views were being represented, showing just how in tune Joe is with a significant slice of the population. Moreover, Joe's comments brought him into the limelight once again, proving that he's not just a passive entertainer, but a major player in national conversations. This controversy shows Rogan's knack for staying relevant and influential, tapping into the pulse of public opinion and fearlessly broaching topics that many are thinking about, but few dare to voice.
Podcaster Joe Rogan from pushing the drug. In fact,
when Joe Rogan announced he'd used ivermectin as part of his treatment against COVID-19, the media storm was immediate. But what really happened here? Joe was taking a stand for early treatment options that he believed in, which is classic Rogan, researched, reasoned, and ready to defend his choices. His decision to go public with his treatment regimen, including ivermectin, opened up discussions on patient rights and the exploration of all potential treatments during the pandemic, not just those endorsed by the biggest pharmaceutical companies. His openness about using ivermectin, a drug that has been both vilified and misunderstood, underscores his commitment to transparency. Joe didn't just use the drug, he shared his positive experience with it, contributing to a larger conversation about the diverse ways COVID-19 can be tackled. This approach resonated with many who seek alternatives to mainstream treatments, further cementing Joe's role as a thought leader who isn't afraid to break from the pack. What's more, Joe's recovery from COVID-19 after using these treatments provided a counter-narrative to the fear surrounding the disease. His quick bounce back to health was a beacon of hope for many of his listeners, demonstrating that there are multiple ways to approach healing and encouraging people to think critically about their health choices.
To have, what is the exact thing it's supposed to do? There's something that I highlighted. And this is
2022 kicked off with a bang when Joe Rogan was accused of spreading misinformation about COVID-19 on his podcast. But let's look closer. Was it misinformation, or was Joe once again ahead of the curve, discussing topics and treatments that were not yet mainstream, but worthy of consideration? His willingness to entertain diverse viewpoints, especially on such a platform as Spotify, has made the Joe Rogan Experience a staple for those who crave depth beyond the headlines.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, run a full marathon before work. Like, that's the kind of shit.
Joe's approach to controversial topics has always been about bringing different voices to the table, fostering a marketplace of ideas where dialogue prevails over censorship. This incident highlighted the importance of free speech in media and the need for platforms that support open dialogue. Spotify's response, to add content advisories, perhaps, was a testament to the balance between freedom of expression and responsible broadcasting, a concept that Joe has championed from the start.
See a photo of their daughter. Pretend that's you. Pretend you are, right now, you're in the...
The uproar also demonstrated Joe's significant influence and the trust his listeners place in him. They turned to his podcast for perspectives that might be sidelined elsewhere, proving that Joe isn't just hosting a show, he's cultivating a movement. Far from shrinking from the controversy, Joe used this opportunity to underscore the importance of conversation in understanding complex issues, proving yet again why he's one of the most formidable and respected voices in modern media.
Fucks his life up and then gets it back together again story.
So there you have it, folks. Joe Rogan's so-called scandals might just be the musings of a man who dares to question, challenges the norm, and sparks conversations that others shy away from. Whether you agree with him or not, one thing is clear: Joe Rogan keeps us talking, thinking, and tuning in. What more can we ask from the king of podcasting?
That's not a real fast thing.
Okay, I understand. What's going on?
I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, as I will continue posting only the best celebrity and K-pop content.
No pads. You'll take less.
This was Watch Wave, and until next time, have a good one.